Amara had arrived in Montpellier 5 years earlier, leaving behind Lagos and the noisy bustle of Balogun Market, where her mother once these sold fabrics. She had come to France with dreams stitched together by determination to study architecture, to build a life that carried her beyond the expectations of her family, and to create something enduring, like the cathedrals and castles she sketched as a child. But life in France was not as effortless as the glossy pictures in travel magazines had promised. When Amara first arrived, her French was clumsy, her accent mocked by shopkeepers and professors alike. She often walked along the Promenade du Pérou, tears hiding behind her sunglasses, missing the sound of pidgin jokes shouted in Lagos streets, missing her mother's spicy jollof rice, missing home. But each time despair tempted her, she reminded herself, I did not cross an ocean to give up at the shore. So she persevered. She studied by candlelight in her small studio, worked evenings at a Nigerian restaurant run by an elderly couple from Enugu, and slowly her French became more confident. It was at the Place de la Comédie, the beating heart of Montpellier, that Amara's life began to change. One evening, carrying her sketchbook and a basket of groceries, she stopped to admire a street musician playing the violin. His music was haunting, rising above the chatter of tourists. The man noticed her sketching him and smiled. His name was Julien Morel, a Montpellier native with tousled dark hair and eyes as green as the olive groves outside the city. He was a doctoral student in music history, performing in the square for extra money. They spoke, awkwardly at first, but conversation soon flowed like wine. She told him about Lagos, about her dream to design eco-friendly houses, blending African and European styles. He told her about his family's vineyard near Nîmes and his longing to escape tradition. A friendship was born, one that grew quietly but deeply. Julien became her companion, her translator when French bureaucracy tangled her, her guide through the labyrinth of French culture. And Amara, with her Nigerian resilience and laughter, became his anchor when he struggled under the weight of family expectations. Yet, not everyone celebrated their bond. Amara encountered whispers, stares, and the sting of prejudice. Some neighbors made subtle remarks. C'est étrange, une Africaine et un Morel. Others asked intrusive questions about her origins, doubting her talent in architecture. But the hardest blow came from Julien's family. When he introduced her at their vineyard, his mother, elegant and sharp-tongued, studied Amara with cool eyes. You are very pretty, Madame Morel said, her voice like ice. But beauty is not enough for our world. My son needs someone who understands our traditions. Amara left the vineyard that evening with fire in her chest. She told Julien, I will not beg for acceptance. If they cannot see me for who I am, then so be it. Julien, torn between loyalty to his family and love for Amara, wrestled silently with his choices. Despite the challenges, Amara pressed forward. She submitted her thesis project, a design for a cultural center in Montpellier, inspired by Nigerian uli patterns and Mediterranean stonework. At her presentation, professors initially doubted her fusion of African and European design. But when she unveiled her intricate models and explained how the building would blend sunlight, shade, and airflow to reduce energy use, the room fell into awed silence. she won an award for innovation. Newspapers wrote about the Nigerian architect reimagining Montpellier's skyline. Suddenly, the same people who once dismissed her accent wanted to hear her story. Julian stood at the back of the hall that day, clapping with tears in his eyes. Weeks later, Julian took Amara back to his family's vineyard. This time, instead of wine glasses and cold stares, he led her quietly to an ancient olive tree in the courtyard. This tree has been here for hundreds of years, he said. It has seen wars, droughts, storms, but it survives stronger with each season. You remind me of this tree, Amara. My family will learn in time. But I have already chosen you for the first time. Madame Morel softened. Watching Amara's quiet dignity, she saw not just a foreigner, but a woman of substance. Slowly, acceptance began to grow, like new shoots on old branches. Years later, Amara opened her architectural firm in Montpellier, focusing on sustainable design. Her work was celebrated across Europe and Africa. She often returned to Lagos, building schools and cultural centers in her homeland. But Montpellier became her second home, a city where she planted her roots. And in the courtyard of the Morel vineyard, beneath the sprawling olive tree, Amara and Julian exchanged vows, a Nigerian bride in coral beads and French lace, a groom in a tailored suit. Two worlds once divided were bound together. When the sun sets over Montpellier, painting the sky in shades of orange and rose, you can sometimes find Amara walking through Place de la Comédie, sketchbook in hand, just as she did years ago. A story, like the city itself, is one of resilience, love, and transformation, because sometimes the most beautiful bridges are built not from stone or steel, but from courage, culture, and the stubborn hope of a woman who refused to be forgotten. So, bestie, what did you learn from this story? Kindly share with me your lessons in the comments sections. Give the story a thumbs up and share the story with your loved ones. Also, subscribe to this Queenie Phil TV channel if you've not done so by now until I bring another story away.